Welcome to an introduction to variables. Now, those that have studied algebra will be familiar with equations such as this one right here, where x is an unknown variable one needs to solve for. For this equation, I'll use the term unknown loosely, as many of us can probably solve it by inspection. However, algebraic equations aren't always so simple. In this equation above, x can take on different values if we change the right side of the equation. In other words, the value of x varies depending on what we set the right side equal to, hence the term variable. Enough algebra. The concept of variables in programming is very similar. The internet tells me that in programming, a variable is a symbolic name given to an unknown quantity that permits the name to be used independent of the information it represents. That's sort of abstract. A better abstraction, at least for now, is to think of a variable as a container that holds something. When you were in middle school or high school, your algebra book might have been stashed in your locker when not in use. And if you're anything like me, your algebra book probably spent most of its time in its locker, barely seeing the light of day. Now, imagine a bank of lockers. Each locker is a container that can hold something. Let's say I want to write a program that checks the temperature every so often and logs the highest temperature in a given day. For this, I'll need two lockers. I'll need one to store the current temperature, and I'll need another to store the highest temperature. When we first start, the two will be equal. For example, say I start logging temperatures at midnight because that's technically the start of a new day. It's 58 degrees Fahrenheit outside, so not only is that the current temperature, it's also the maximum so far, as we've only taken one sample. But as the day progresses, both will update and change, and eventually the temperature will reach a maximum before falling again. So at noon, the temperature is 88. We'll take the number 88 and put it in both lockers. Then at 2 p.m., the temperature drops to 85. Now we'll put 85 in the current temperature locker, but we'll keep 88 in the high temperature locker, as 88 is the highest temperature so far today. The current temperature will continue to vary throughout the day. The high temperature will vary until we reach the maximum for that day. Now, here's the point. Think of variables as containers that hold something. Now, if you're new to Arduino, your next question might be something like, what else can I put in a variable? We know that different containers are good for storing different things. We also know that it's very helpful to have the right container for the thing we want to store.